Hey, what's up? This is Chosen, and this video is going to be a champion guide for Visix the Unbowed, who is the daily login reward for 270 days. Let's get into it. Alrighty, so first of all, huge shout out to Dresden, who I've known for a really long time, and I'm very thankful that Dresden was able to summon Visix and then reached out to me and said, hey, if you want to dive in, do some testing with her, throw a guide out there, you're more than welcome to use my account. I jumped on the offer and I really appreciate that, so thank you, Dresden. And let's go ahead and pull up the index and dive into Visix here. So we're going to go into Dark Elves, and we're going to go the far top right, the Void Defense Legendary. Right here is Visix. And remember, as always, for my champion guides, down below in a pinned comment, I will have a link to an infographic that goes over all of the basic information, the masteries that you see in the video on the champion that I'm using in this video. But remember to always use masteries as a template. Don't just blindly copy them. You want to build the champion specifically to what you are doing on your account with them. Shows that she needs 10 books to max out up there on the far top left. And then the grades and the gear and kind of all that stuff, that'll be down there if you want to pull that up and take a look. So let's put that away and dive into the kit here and the total stats. So the first things first, when we look at the total stats, you can see she is a defense scaling champion. So the defense is very good. 1476 is a very high base defense. The base speed of 97 is a little bit low for a Void Legendary, but she's a self-turn meter booster, so that's why the speed points being a little bit lower is kind of normal. We'll see that sometimes in the game. When champions have an ability that either lowers cooldowns or cycles through abilities or boosts their own turn meter, sometimes we'll see their speed be just a little bit lower than normal. And then everything else mostly decent. The base HP is a little bit low. I would have liked to see that be around like 18 or 18.5 for the base HP. That seems a little bit low for a Void Legendary. The base accuracy of 0 is also disappointing. I would have liked to see 10 or 20 there. But the resistance of 50 is pretty sturdy. But as we dive into the kit here, we've got an A1 that attacks one enemy 2 times, each hit with an 80% chance that we can book up to 100 of decreasing the target's turn meter by 10%. Fills the champion's turn meter equal to the amount the target loses. So, like I said, this enables her to really fill up some of her turn meter and make up for that 97 base speed, which is a little bit low for a Void Legendary. It's also based on defense, and it's a multi-hitter, so a pretty cool A1. Then we've got the A2, that is going to be attack all enemies with a 75% chance that we can book up to 100, of placing a 30% decreased speed debuff for 2 turns, places a shield buff on this champion equal to 20% of their max HP for 2 turns, and again, based on defense. This is a pretty cool ability. This is very good for faction wars, dungeons, could even be decent in the arena. If you're in a sustained fight, you want to AoE, lower the speed of your opponents, also shield herself. It's based on defense. So far, I like the A1 and I like the A2. And then for the A3, we've got places a provoke debuff on the target for 1 turn. Also places a 50% ally protection buff on all allies except this champion for 2 turns, and that can be booked to a 3-turn cooldown. Then we've got a crazy aura, 37% ally defense in faction crypts. That's a big aura for faction crypts. With her being a Void Legendary, I would have maybe liked this to be all battles by 30% or something, but we've already got Tormund as a Void Legendary that has a 33% all defense aura, so I get wanting to not have the exact same aura as another Void Legendary, so that does make sense, and at least it is big. It's 37% for faction crypts, so that's pretty cool. But in general, for the kit, the only thing that's a little bit weird to me is I would have liked the A3 to maybe synergize with her turn meter speed theme. I would have maybe had this buff the turn meter of all allies by a certain percentage and then place an ally protection. That would really match the rest of her turn meter manipulation A1, and then her decreased speed A2, and then have this be a turn meter boost for all allies, and then some ally protection. The single target provoke seems a little bit weird. Not that it's bad or anything, but it's a little bit interesting for her kit, and it's a single target provoke. It's not like AoE or anything, but it is very reliable as long as she has good accuracy. It's not like a 50% chance to provoke or anything. It's gonna place as long as she has really good accuracy over her opponent's performance, or at least it's like 96%. One thing I also like to make sure that I touch on is what the AI prioritizes for her. And I wasn't able to test her in like 100 different scenarios, but I did make sure and try to test this, and her AI seems to prioritize her A2, which is the AoE attack that decreases the speed of all enemies. So her first thing that she does, if you're doing an auto dungeon fight, faction wars, or even an arena fight or something, she's going to be doing the A2 here most of the time. But now let's get into the gearing process and all that good stuff for her. So here is the Visix that we had kind of put together on Dresden's account just to mess around with and do some testing. First, I'll go ahead and pull up the total stats here in case you want to look at that in terms of how I built mine here and compare it to yours or anything. Health points, you want to get somewhere around probably 35 to 40,000. Defense, somewhere around 4,500 to 6,000, somewhere in there. Speed, we want her to have pretty good speed, 200, 210, 220, somewhere in there. A crit rate and crit damage, I personally don't think it's that necessary to build her as a damage dealer. I don't think that's her strength. Resistance, the more the better. And then we do need accuracy on her because that is a lot of her kit in terms of reducing turn meter, placing provokes, and decreasing speed. So make sure the accuracy is pretty good. You're going to want this at least around 200 in terms of being viable for the later dungeons and towards the end of faction wars, which means we're typically going to want an accuracy banner on her. That is also our best blend of defense and speed for substats. On the amulet, defense is probably going to be the choice most often, and then hopefully you get a double or triple roll on accuracy in the substats. And then for the ring, you're going to want your best blend of defense and HP that you can get. Boots are almost always going to be speed on her. The chest is almost always going to be defense. Same with the gloves. You're going to want defense most of the time. The top ones are pretty simple. You're just going to want your best blend of speed, accuracy, defense, and HP. And as far as sets, you're going to be looking at things like speed, defense, the usual suspects. She's okay in Relentless. She can cycle through her abilities, do that A1 a little bit more often to decrease turn meter, and make sure and keep that suppression of the A2, lowering the speed, keep the ally protection up. So she's not bad in Relentless. I wouldn't say she's amazing in it, but yeah, accuracy, defense, Immortal. She's going to be tanking damage with her A3 that does ally protection, so getting Immortal on her is not a bad idea. Speed, accuracy, all that good stuff. Then for the booking process, I would say the priority for her booking would be the A2. This is going to be her best and most generally useful ability. So if you're going to be spending books on her and trying to save them, I would try to max this out, and then you can maybe save the books after that. But the other books on her aren't that bad. They're pretty decently impactful. One book to get a cooldown on the A3 is pretty solid. And then making the turn meter reduction a lot more viable, going from 80 to 100 is also pretty solid. So if you're needing a champion to progress you in the faction wars of the Dark Elves, or maybe be a carry for you in progression for dungeons, not a bad idea to go ahead and book her if you're going to commit to doing the A2. Then for the Masteries here, I'll show you how I did it and the route that I went. You can go down the offense tree and take the kind of standard route of taking crit rate, crit damage, and working your way down the left side to War Master if you want. But I just don't see the utility of going the offense tree on her, because we're never going to use her in the clan boss. She's not very good there. She's not a great damage dealer. And the design of her kit is kind of to absorb damage, ally protection, the provoke. So I went ahead and went with that theme and just took the bulwark on her to make her even that much more tanky in terms of soaking up damage for the team. And then I do think the support tree is all right on her. Getting the Master Hexer for the decreased speed. It's not going to help your provoke. If you pull it up here, it says it will not increase provoke, but getting it to make that decreased speed that much more reliable. And then the accuracy, and you can even get the charge focus because she does prioritize the decreased speed. So you're going to get a big accuracy boost from charge focus on her AI, prioritizing the AoE decreased speed. So I think this is a pretty generally useful setup for her Masteries, but don't ever copy the Masteries blindly. You're going to want to build it for the champion that you're using on your account. And now let's go through and get her graded in all the different areas of the game. So for campaign locations, she's all right in the campaign. She does have the 3-turn AoE. She's based on defense. She's void. I'll give her a 4. She's going to be all right in the campaign, but she's not going to be like an XP farmer. She's not like a Queen Ava or Skull Crown or some S-tier XP farmer. Arena offense, I don't think she's going to be that great in the arena. She doesn't debuff anything like defense or play stun or anything on an AoE, so I'm going to give her a 3. She is void, but yeah, not going to be amazing in the arena. I'm just going to give her a 3 on both offense and defense. Spider's Den, the AoE decrease speed is very good. Ally protection can be very cool as well, and the decreased turn meter on the A1 can be good. I'll give her a 4. She's not going to be like god tier, but she's all right in the Spider. Clan Boss, no. I'll give her a 2 because she's a legendary based on defense, so she'll be kind of tanky, and she does have ally protection, but the decreased speed and the A1 that steals turn meter, all that good stuff, is not going to work in the Clan Boss, so she's not going to be good there. By day 270, you probably have better champions for the Clan Boss. Faction Wars, definitely a 5. I don't know why she has a 3.5 in Faction Wars. She's really good in Faction Wars for Dark Elves. Spirit Keep, she's gonna be a 3 in most of these keeps. Not gonna be like amazing, but definitely serviceable in most of them. Fire Knight is her best dungeon in my opinion. Gosh, she's like a 4.5 probably for the Fire Knight with the multi-hit A1 and the decreasing of the turn meter on the Fire Knight, the suppression of the waves, the ally protection. I'll give her a 5. I'll give her a 5. It's like a 4.5, but I'll give her a 5. Minnow, she's fine. We'll give her a 4 there. Void is going to be a 4. Force Keep, sure, 4. 4. And Ice Golem, not bad. She's a tanky champion that does some suppression. I'll give her a 4. And Dragon's Lair, it's like a 3.5. None of her turn meter stuff is going to work on the dragon. You can't decrease the speed or anything of the dragon, so it'd be like a 3.5. I'll give her a 4 because she's void, so she'll never be weak. So let's get those submitted, and then I will showcase her in the best dungeon in my opinion as we kind of wrap up and have a quick conversation about Visix the Unbowed here. So here we go. We'll fire up the Fire Knight so you can see her in action while I'm talking here. But yeah, my general thoughts on Visix is, gosh, it's a tough one. I mean, she is a free champion. Like, as long as you play the game, you get her for free. So she shouldn't be like S tier, amazing, ridiculously. She's not going to be like a Siphi or a Draco or Battle or something because you get her for free. I mean, it'd be great if she was, but just in terms of game design, they're probably not going to release a champion that's amazing as a free-to-play, you know, login reward. So, she kind of is what she is. If you're struggling to progress in the Dark Elves Faction Wars, she's probably worth 6-starring and worth investing in because she can definitely help you out there. The amazing aura for Faction Wars, the suppression of the speed aura, the provokes, and the turn meter on the A1. She's really good in Faction Wars. By day 270, she's probably not going to be an option for you in the arena or even a lot of the dungeons. Her best dungeon is probably the Fire Knight, and she can be okay in other scenarios as well, just not top tier. So yeah, I think she's worth a 6-star. Is she worth the books is going to depend on if you need her for Faction Wars or not. So I think she could afford to get a little bit of love. She's not a complete trash can. Her A2 is very good, and she's very good in Faction Wars, and she's also pretty good in the Fire Knight as well. So not awful, just not really the caliber of champion that you would expect out of a Void Legendary, but that's kind of counteracted by the fact that she is a free champion if you just log into the game. So that's kind of my general sentiment on her. I would really love to know what you think. Let me know down in the comments how you feel about her. And remember, I do have the infographic down in the video description if you want to pull that up and take a look. So that's going to do it for this video. As always, thank you for watching. Have a good rest of your day. Peace.